Hello, everybody. My name is Julius Danuatmodjo. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I work for HCL America, and I'm one of their virtualization engineers. So today, I'm going to talk about vSphere Replication Appliances, and this is based on my own experience. And we try to deploy data center, and in really small office, and they have only like 30 VM requirement. But one of the check boxes, they want to make sure it can replicate between buildings or it can replicate back into the main office. Well, the problem is sometimes some people have big businesses, they get pretty lucky, they can have array replication. You have SnapMirror, you have EMC, all that kind of stuff. But this one is based on the VMware vSphere Replication Appliances, so they can replicate your VM. And I highly recommend this for small VM. It's not really depend on your bandwidth as well, and you need to have those considerations. So let's get this started. At first is disclaimer, like as always, and you can read it, but and the next one is this is how the thing works. So basically, you deploy the appliances. It's OVF, okay? And one in the target site, one in the source site. And you can get multiple source sites into the target site. The thing is, what makes this interesting is a lot of people doesn't know that you all already have a license to have this vSphere replication. I understand that, Zerto has replication, Veeam has replication. If you have a NetApp SnapMirror, already have that. EMC have a recover point. But when you have a small office, you got 20 VM, 30 VM. Sometimes they don't want to spend the money to get all those appliances. So what it does is basically replicate the VM from one side to the other side. And the other good news is if you have SRM, this one is integrated with SRM as well. So you can automate this to fail over from one data center to the other data centers. And this is the minimum requirement for it. And what's surprising is they have been starting this since ESXi 5 and vCenter 5.1. And literally, has been there for a long time. I didn't find this out until a couple of years ago when I tried to do vSphere 6. And they said this thing has been available all along. And there's a minimum requirement. And just make sure if you have RDM, raw data mapping, that thing is not supported. Okay, and it's integrated with vSphere web client. So if you use stick client, you cannot do this. You need to have web client in order to do that. So 5.5 update 3 all the way up. Based on the VMware, they say you can do for 2,000 VM, 10 virtual appliances server per vCenters. But if I have 2,000 VM, I personally not recommend it. But that's up to y'all. Okay, I just tell you the truth. That's what happened. We use it, And with the 6.5, you can get 5-minute RPO. Previous that, you can have like 30 minutes or up. And only that, in order to have 5-minute RPO, you need to have VMFS 5 and above, NFS, vVol, or vSend. Multiple recovery point. With the 6.5, you can retain 24 copies. But you got to understand, replication is not a backup. So do not count it as your backup. This one is just replicate if something happened. On my case, the story is back in 2015 when I deployed vSphere 6, the first thing they have is a PSC, Platform Service Controllers. If you put external so you can vMotion between data center, they say VMware recommended you have 2 PSC with load balancing such as F5 or NSX. What happens if you have a small office, do not have any of those? My way to do it is basically I replicate my PSC, because with a PSC, you can log into your vCenter. So if you replicate it, if something happened, you still can bring something up. So 2015 VMware, I'll talk to one of the V experts, and they say they completely agree. When you use the vSphere 6, that is one of the dangers for it if you do not replicate your PSC or have load balancer. And like I said, support SRM. So if you have SRM and you can integrate it with very easy to set up. vCloud Air. You can also replicate to vCloud Air if you like to. Support shadow copy. Virtual machine snapshot are not used as part of replication process. And vSphere replication doesn't support encryption. So if you have requirement for encryption, this won't do it for you. This is not something for you. And this is the matrix, which is tell you, if you have the vSphere ESXi all the way, and then what version which is supported by the replication itself. And this is available on the VMware documentation for the requirement. And if you see it based on the license, you all probably already have something like that. The only thing is not covered is Essential. If you have vSphere Essential license, the replication is not included in it. But if you do have one of these, chances are you got Enterprise or Enterprise Plus, you already have that replication license for you. Any question? Yes. The maximum number, like VMware say, yeah, it's 2,000 VM, basically 200 per vCenter appliance and server. I mean, but it's so, how do I put it? It's really hard to manage when you have something like that. Okay, I use it for 100 VM. Okay, and it's not only that; it's depending on your bandwidth. If your bandwidth is only like 100 meg link and you have that many VM, you cannot be able to replicate it to the other side. Your RPO is for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. It's not going to happen because you're not going to be able to replicate it through that bandwidth. So that is another consideration you have to think about. You have to calculate that. $500 VM, 500 meg, and how many VM? I'm sorry. Yes, and what's your change rate, and how big you want to replicate? That also you have to get the consideration because the replication based on the change. All right, if you make a little change, you have like 1 terabyte, but change rate is only like 1 gig. They can replicate easily. The initial replication will take a while, but after that, the replication, it will be a lot faster.
That can help me to size the change of my data.
Usually, in order to see that. Oh, she was asking how do you basically to know what your change rate is. Usually what I do with the change rate, if you have a backup, how big your backup, usually backup is based on, the change, right? Whatever you change, you not only backup the whole full backup every day. That's another way to look at it. What is your change rate every day? Because you do incremental, right? Yes. That's one way to do it. Any other question? By the way, this is a template. It's very easy. You can go from many source into one target site. And you can, as a matter of fact, replicate it again to another site. And a lot of people doesn't know that. So that's why, I thought it was pretty neat. But some people has a lot of budget, right? With IT, they will buy Zerto, Veeam, or anything else. Or SnapMirror with NetApp, or Recover Point. But this one is more like a poor man concept, which you already have it. It's available.